Hey, how are you tonight? My name is Kelly. We're going to take a little walk on my property and maybe a couple of my neighbors as well. Gorgeous evening. We've been having like cool spring here, late spring, and cool temperatures here in northwest Arkansas. Plenty of rain. Perfect in my book. I think the last time we talked about this gig economy we live in, and an old timer like me, I'm used to going to the same job for years. I worked for 28 years for the federal government as an IT specialist, and didn't ever have to worry about being laid off for a paycheck, that sort of thing. Worked hard, believe it or not. I'm the kind of guy that Elon Musk and Trump hate. You know, the government workers that have been doing fine jobs for many generations. They fired a lot of them. But anyway, I don't want to get into politics or religion on my talks. So this is a walk and talk. The last time we were talking about the gig economy we live in. You know, and it's new to guys like me. Though I've been unemployed now since I retired, which has probably been, roughly speaking, about 9 years. So I have tried to get a few jobs in between that I could work from home, and I've gotten a couple, but they haven't worked out. The final 4 years I worked for the federal government, I worked from home, and that worked out very well. But now with the gig economy, it seems like it's an employer's market because they can pay low wages. For example, I worked for one company, and they had me on a help desk, technical help desk, computer help desk. And the training was to go 3 weeks, but they hired a bunch of new folks, including me, and they really didn't have it together. So it took into the 4th week for training. And I think on the 2nd day of my 4th week, when we just started to do live calls, I quit. And the main thing was they were using a piece of software that was, well, it's not the software, it's the how they had it set up. But for even 2 minutes to go around the corner and go to the bathroom, this is at my house, working remotely for another agency in another state, private sector. And all right, here's the river tonight. So for 2 minutes it took to go just around the corner to the bathroom. You had to account for that in the software. Plus it was just a hodgepodge of having to go all these different places to get what you needed to get to the customer's answer. For us new ones, the longer you stay there, of course, the more familiar you're going to become with the equipment and all that. When I worked for the government, I was a senior level person and former programmer. First few years I was a programmer. So all the senior level people took turns on the help desk. And of course we knew everything about what went on at our facility. It was a medical center. So we could resolve most of the calls right there, okay, online. And then we had a piece of software that allowed us to log in if we needed to, but we didn't have any special requirements other than we've already been vetted, and either FBI or another agency already did a background on us. So we were trusted. So once we were trusted, then we had keys to the kingdom pretty much. So we didn't have to go to all these different levels of tech support. We just handled it there. And if it was something that I wasn't familiar with, but maybe one of the network guys, I was in software support, but maybe one of the network guys was familiar, well, we'd do what we could on the phone. Then we made that ticket and sent it to one of our network guys, and usually I accompanied that with email or a phone call and say, hey, I'm sending one your way. So that's just an example. But it worked very efficiently, very good. And it was actually kind of enjoyable working the help desk. And we didn't have it full time. You know, we'd work at 2 hours, maybe 4 hours a day, whatever it was. And maybe we'd only have to do it, you know, every other week, every third or fourth week. I don't remember how it would have laid out, but it worked fine and dandy. But this place, they were working for a university up in New England way, a very good university, but the company it was contracted that we were working for certainly didn't have their stuff together. And they paid $15 an hour with very little, what do you call it, possibility of really going anywhere in that job. But it's sort of, I don't want to use the word slave labor, but for those of you who've worked in IT and gotten pretty good pay, yeah, let's call it that. So it's an employer's market, like I mentioned. Appears to be anyway, unless you have some really high-end skills as a software developer and Python, Java, or whatever else they're doing these days. And then you have, you know, you can demand more money, but even those guys get laid off. So it's not what it used to be as far as the being a computer person. But, I guess it's all right. It's best for young people. Man, we missed the train too. I could have gotten a picture of the train tonight. We got the audio though, you can hear it. That's for sure. We have a freight train that goes through here multiple times a day. And on the weekends we have a passenger train that goes through here. We're in the Ozarks, about 20-minute drive south of Fayetteville, Arkansas. And, they like to call this territory here north, all the way to the Missouri border. They like to call it Northwest Arkansas. And, here's a sycamore tree that's come down in the last week. I don't know if we can see it, but let's see if I can get up to it. But yeah. So along the river here we might get a lot of rain, which we've been getting. And especially when you get a lot of rain with wind, we've had both lately. What happens is the ground gets loose. As a result, then a high wind can come in and push trees right over, like this big sycamore. In fact, it's taken a couple trees with it here. It's like a maple. So I'll tell my neighbor, if he hasn't been down here lately, that we got some sycamore that can be sawed into logs. I'll help him saw it. He just give me a little of the lumber. We just did saw some pine, which is very useful around the property. But this is a nice diameter sycamore tree. Had no clue this was here tonight. But yeah, it's probably close to 30 inches, I'd say, in diameter on the butt end. And it's straight. As you can see, if I got my camera pointed correctly, I should say, it's long. So there's 1, 2, 3, probably 4 8-foot logs out of that one, and they're straight as a whistle. So, wow, yeah, that'll make some nice lumber. My neighbor's also a guitar builder. He's built me, I bought several guitars from him. He'd never built an arch top, and I talked him into building an arch top, so he bought the book by Bob Benedito, famous arch top builder, world famous. He has videos too, but I think Jim just took and bought the book. Jim had already built dozens or hundreds of flat top guitars, so, you know, aside from the carving of the body, which was a lot of work for him, you know, graduation of the top, you make certain parts of the top certain thicknesses, and but he knew about the neck and all that stuff. He didn't need a book for that. And he built his own form for the body and everything. It's about a 17.5-inch wide arch top on the lower bout. He built two of them. I bought both of them. I bought one, and then I ended up selling it. And I liked the one I didn't buy better. I ended up buying that, and that's one I got now, which was actually the first one he built. And it's got more punch, it's got more volume than the second one he built. And of course he used different woods, but still, this one I have now, the second one he built, he had some local black walnut he cut just north of here, about maybe 30 miles. He's an excavator, so he gets logs sometimes for free. People just say, yeah, get him out of here, you know. And so the sides and back are black walnut, and then the top, he actually bought the top. Sometimes he makes his own tops. He's made them out of piano soundboards, believe it or not. And he's made them out of cedar. He's made more out of redwood than anything. And redwood sounds a whole lot like spruce for a top. But this one that he built for me, he bought some decent grade spruce, and it comes in, you know, thick slabs, and then he glued two of those together, two-piece top, and then he carved out the top, and he carved out the walnut back too. I mean, it's crazy, a lot of work. But so this again is the West Fork I mentioned on the former videos, West Fork of the White River. And the White River is about 700 plus miles long. And this is the West Fork that actually goes over a little dam in West Fork, Arkansas, which is about 4 miles south of us on Scenic Highway 71. So I'm moving the camera all over. I'm supposed to keep it on me, I guess. So I just got a brand new short collapsible tripod. And this is a wonderful little guy. I was going to try to do some food photography and signed up with this company, and they have, you know, I have to answer all their questions and kind of qualify for it, you know, send samples of my photography, etc. So I was all approved, but come to find out, like many of these gigs, we're talking about gig economy here, well, we don't have work for you right now. Well, will they ever have work for me? Maybe not, because I've had other companies too. I went through so much just to credential, you know, get my credentials to them and all this. Even passport and driver's license, and you know, they got everything and more than they need, but well, we don't have any work for you right now. So that's sort of the gig economy is like with a hope and a prayer. You're just kind of hanging on, and then they may get work, and hopefully you're available during that time. But I think they shoot for these contracts and on. They don't always end up getting them, but they have to show that they can handle it, and so they, you know, they try to get people hired where it doesn't really cost them money. They just got you strung on the line. That's kind of what I view. I may be totally wrong. If any of you know anything more about the gig economy, how it works, especially with, let's say, photographers and or, let's say, IT computer specialists, something like that. Like I said, there's still work for help desk people answering the phone and solve people's computer problems. There's still work there. But again, if you're insisting on doing it from home, the pay is really low. Really, the pay isn't that much lower for most of those jobs than they are for if you had to go into the office. Okay. Now, some gig economy may work good, but I'm trying to get to be a YouTube creator. I do post a lot of my photographs on Facebook, and I have my own portfolio, so I suspect I'll be getting something along lines of photography here one of these days shortly for a gig. But as far as video, even though I've done video for a few years, I never tried to do what we're doing now on YouTube, you know, this walk and talk thing, vlog, whatever. Then I think I'm going to try to set up, I won't say studio, it's just my office, which is relatively small and too much stuff in it, but that should be easier because you just have the camera pointing on you. I'll have to decide which direction I'm going. I might go into guitars and just not guitar lessons per se. In fact, I did that a long time ago. Gave lessons for 2 years or better. But anyway, get into guitars, maybe how to organize bands. I find it quite easy to throw bands together and what a band needs to do. And but I'll tell you right now, I hate to be rain on your parade, but there's no real money in the music business. If you get a band that's like a wedding band and you all do really good, and you know you got business smarts and you manage to keep your bookings well in advance, then I mean you probably can make a living, you know, barely. It depends how many people in the band. I just suggest keeping it to one person yourself and maybe a second person. I don't think you really need to go beyond that. 3 at the very most. Less mouths to feed that way. And the other idea, other than the music, the band business, I do play guitar, mandolin, and electric bass. But the other thing I was thinking of is sort of the old homespun thing where we talk, you know, philosophy, we talk meditation, we talk just kind of a friendly chat, basically. Maybe I can impart a little knowledge because I'm so dang old, and that type of thing. But I'll probably go with the music thing because I've done a lot of that over the years and have been in many bands and have done some solo work and all that. Have lots of videos on YouTube of me by myself playing or me and my band playing. My son and I have done a lot of those videos, and so I may end up just going in that route.